Hello and welcome to my channel, J.I. Colorist. My name is Jody and today we are continuing on in our color pencil comparison series, working on a page from Johanna Basford's World of Flowers. We are working on this page where we are doing a different colored pencil brand in each box. Today I am going to be using my set of Prismacolor Premier pencils. I have the 132 set and we are going to do this section right here. So let me put the book away and grab some paper to put underneath. I have already pre-selected the colors that I'm going to use, and as I mentioned, I have the 132 set. I have put them in their color order based on Color with Claire. She has a color chart and she's organized them by different color families. So that's how I have selected. Where there are holes is where I do not have the colors. So if you're looking at how many I have, so there's just a few holes in each one. Some of them don't have any holes. So I really like the way Color with Claire has done the setup of this. It's much easier for me to use. There's also a third page which has the neons, the silver, the metallics, and the grays. So I'll slip those back over here. This is what my case looks like. I've already removed the pencils. I will go over which pencils I'm going to be using. And as I mentioned, we're going to do this section right here. Let me zoom you down a little bit. We'll try and stay in frame. Okay, while I am coloring, I will of course go through the items that I found. Prismas are obviously a very well-known brand and many of you probably own them. I have owned these since about 2017. I own the 132 set. There are a total of 150 available. I do have the Prisma blender pencil, so I will bring that out should we need it, and I'll also use some Gamsol to be fair, to compare it to all the other brands in the boxes. So these I'm going to do, let's start with the background. I have selected Light Aqua 992 and Aquamarine 905. I have quite a bit of breakage with this set that's been very frustrating, and that's why I actually haven't been using them. So I've found that by doing some testing, if I use the large hole and only do a couple of turns and keep my pencils quite short and sharp, that helps for me for the breakage of my pencils. So I'm just going to start with the Aquamarine in the background, and then I'll be able to color and talk at the same time. So these pencils are available both online and in store. Many stores you can still buy them open stock, which is great. They're sold in many different available sizes of tins, which is also nice. So they're fairly readily available, unless you're in like Europe, and they're a little bit harder to get in some countries, but in North America they certainly are available. And I'm just switching to the lighter color here, and we'll blend. So I typically favor harder pencils, so I have been using these a little bit to get used to them, so that I'm giving them a fair review. The reason why I don't reach for these is because I'm not sure what happened to my set. I don't know if they were, broken to start with, or if I did that somehow, but I have a lot of broken cores, so a lot of my pencils are quite short. So I have done a selection of pencils where most of them are still quite long, so I'm hoping that with sharpening them a new way we can make some headways on this picture. They are nice to blend with. I do find that my hand gets sore more with these. I don't know if that's because it's a softer pencil and I'm used to pressing a little bit harder. I'm not sure, but I do not reach for these very often. So the packaging themselves comes in tin sets. It also, the 150 set comes in a large cardboard box. And I had the 132 tin. I removed it from the tin. The trays were very flimsy, like a lot of colored pencil trays. So not a lot of protection in the tins. So it's quite easily that they can be broken. So yeah, the packaging isn't stellar, but it's a lot of pencils don't have stellar packaging. It's only the really expensive pencils that you start getting some quality packaging. So I wasn't totally surprised. On the pencil body themselves, I have the ones that have silver printing on them. So it says Prismacolor Premier. And then it says the color light aqua in English. Then it has a little triangle. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be about. Then they have the color name in French. And then they have a color number. The color number is total silver. And then the etched out part is the color of the pencil. So it's very, very hard. If you have eyesight issues, reading the silver number at the end of the pencil, I have a very difficult time. And I do wear glasses, but I just find it's hard to read the silver writing. So that's a bit of a issue. It doesn't affect, obviously, the way the pencils lay down. It's just ease of using the pencils and looking in my binder for the right pencil number. They're smooth, they're not scratchy. If you're using the colors adjacent to each other, they blend pretty easily, so that's nice. You do have the white pencil as well. I will bring that in. It's not a super opaque white, but we will blend with that a little bit and see how we like that in some of these tiny areas. So the core size is 3.8 millimeter. Okay, I have completed the background and I'm now going to blend it with Gamsol. So I just have Gamsol in a Copic marker and I'll bring you down a little bit. And then after I've done blending it, we'll let it dry, and then afterwards, if we need to add more pigment, I've already got a couple of layers on here. We can always do a bit more. So I'll keep blending this out, and then I'll be back. Okay, here is how it is looking blended. We'll let that dry and we can always add a few more layers. And that's the nice thing about using odorless mineral spirits instead of burnishing right away, is that it doesn't damage the tooth of the paper and we can add more layers. So that was the background done in aquamarine and light aqua. So I'll set those to the side. Let's do one of these flowers, and I am going to do this large one in some yellow and orange colors. So I have selected a light, medium, and dark, and it is going to be lemon yellow, yellowed orange, and sunburst yellow. Going to sharpen them a little bit, and that broke. Just a second. Let's see if I can fix this. Okay, I've pulled out my Prismacolor pencil sharpener just in case a few of you are concerned that I'm using a large hole sharpener. So I'm using the side that asks for a shorter hole, and that's already broken in there. So you can tell that the core of this whole pencil is broke. I've tried the heating him up trick, laying him in the sun, putting them near something hot. It's just, once you have a shattered core, it gets awfully difficult. So I'll try a little bit more to see if I can get. Okay, I've got a short, stubby. I may just keep it as short as possible and see if we can get some of this colored. So that was my, that's going to be my darkest color. So we'll keep my Prismacolor sharpener out. I'm going to do light on the bottom. They do have a bright, nice pigment payout. Okay, then yellowed orange is my next one. I'm just going to do the whole section, and then I'm going to blend down. I'm going to come in with my lighter color and just go right over top, leaving the tip alone, so I'm not keep going over and over that, but go over the rest. That makes it a nice bright color. And then we're going to use the darkest color, the one that's all beat up, and we're going to do that here. And it's not going to work because it's broken and it's wiggly, but I'll get out some pigment and then see if we can. Okay, we'll leave that, and I'll go and see if I have another color. It's the darker color that I want to replace. I pulled out my mineral orange and we'll go over top of that. And we'll deepen up this. They are a nice pencil. They do blend well. If you do too many layers, you will get the wax bloom, but okay. It does feel slippery once you have too many layers. This is nice paper that I'm using, so it's not the paper. Okay, we'll leave that out. Okay, the next color combination we're going to do this one, and I've selected a light, medium, and dark in the purple range. We've got lavender 934, dahlia purple 1009, and black grape 996. So, and I'm always nervous to sharpen them, so just one moment. I'm not pressing hard, and yes, that did snap. Okay, light pressure so I can blend. I'm bringing in the mid one, which is the dahlia purple. These pencils are, like I said, a 3.8 millimeter core. They are wooden. They have a open, non-capped end, so you can see the core, which is nice if you're trying to see if the core is centered or not. They have a color the full length of the barrel, so that is nice as well. I'm going to use some white, and I'm going to start at the bottom and blend up, but not all the way to the top. The white is a nice blender. It's not an opaque white, so it is good as a blender. If it was an opaque white, that wouldn't be. So that is a very beautiful, vibrant color. I'm going to use the black grape on the very tip. I'm going to use the spring green. And then just at the very tip, I'm going to use grass green. And come back and blend that. Okay, and that's how that's going to do. I'll do this second flower the same, and I'll be right back. Okay, the next flowers, we're going to do these two small ones, and we are going to do them in a variety of blues. So I have 3 blues selected. I have powder blue, 1087, Caribbean Sea, 1103, and Periwinkle, 1025. And along with that, we'll answer a few more questions. These are a wax-based pencil, and I did look up, and they claim to be light fast. However, I don't find any information. They say that the pencils are made of cedar wood, and that pretty much follows. I do have had problems with the wood cracking, and sometimes it cracks all the way up. So I'm not sure if it's due to the dry weather here, or if that's a normal trait with their cedar wood. These pencils are made in Mexico, and they are the only pencil that I have currently that is made in Mexico. They have been made in Mexico for quite a few years. I know at one point they were made elsewhere, but that is not the case any longer, so I'm just going with that's where these are made. They don't hold their because they're a wax soft pencil, they do not hold their point for very long. That's just part of the nature of a wax versus mainly oil pencil. Both pencils always have both wax and oil. It's not like they have just one or the other. The pros of these pencils for me is when I do find the colors that I like I really like these two colors, but this also brings me to colors that are being discontinued. So right now they are discontinuing 2 colors due to having problems getting the pigments for them, and that are the lilac and lavender. So this is my lavender, and then there is another one for lilac. Those pencils are being discontinued, and Prismacolor has not yet released any substitute pencils for them. So I'm not sure what they're going to do, because their 150 set will no longer be 150. So if you're in love with those pencils, the lilac and the lavender, I would suggest buying them open stock and keeping them for future use. It is nice that you can get things open stock, but I imagine that those 2 pencils in particular are going to be hard to find even now. Okay. Let's move on to some leaves. I'll do this one here in the same colors as that, and then I'll be back and we'll do some leaves. So since we're looking at leaves, I brought back the color chart, and that's something that Prismacolor does fairly well, is they have an abundance of greens, different shades, different tones. So this whole, we've got 3 rows of different greens as opposed to 6 brown. So these can be on the brown tone there as well, but yeah. So greens, lots of greens. So I have selected some fun ones. I've got true green, parrot green, and peacock green, and those 3 I'm going to do together, and I'm going to start up at this area here, so I'll zoom you in. So my pro is that these are nice vibrant colors and they blend well. It does take some time getting used to coloring with these pencils. And that may be just because I normally color with a different pencil brand. You do need a couple of layers at minimum to get a good pigment though, but that is typically the case with most colored pencils. It's not a one layer done kind of situation. You need to fill in the tooth of the paper. The con is that while you're filling in the tooth of the paper, you can get quite a bit of wax bloom, and that your colors can end up being white and shiny. That can be avoided with using some mineral spirits to blend stuff out and get rid of some of that binder, and also taking a tissue paper and rubbing. So it just takes a bit of practice. The cons though far outweigh the benefits, at least for this particular set, and that's because they have a quality control issue with Prismacolors. They have a quality control issue with not only the cores breaking, but also the wood casing. So I've had both problems with, faulty pencils having and like I said, that could be because, at some point my pencils were dropped. I'm not blaming the Prismacolor people for that. But the quality of the pencils that arrive in the wood chips, hunks come out, the pencil splits. I haven't had that problem with any other pencil brand. So that is on one of my negatives, is the quality control issue of Prismas. And I think that that's a fairly well known in the industry, and I knew that before, well, I guess before I bought them, but I didn't really realize that actually was the case until I got my pencils, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so that is the dark green, that's the peacock green, and I am going to take the Prismacolor blender pencil. So it is nice that they have a colorless blender, and make sure it's clean. And then I'm going to blend this. I find that the blender pencil dulls down the color. It doesn't make it bright and shiny. I find that using an odorless mineral spirit actually brightens the color, and so I do tend to prefer that, but when I do have a blender pencil available, I will test it out for you here. It does its job with tooth of the paper, gets pushed down. I'm now going to take parrot green and do some shading around the edge of all of this. Prismacolor does have a bunch of sets, including you can get a portrait set. All of those pencils, are already in your 150 set though, so. But it is nice that if you only have a small selection of Prismas, you can build up your collection by buying the set that would be most useful to you. Okay, now I'm going to blend this out. They do work well when you just use a light, medium, and dark for blending. So there we go. You could keep adding layers, but once you pretty much have what you want to stop with Prismas, because adding more and more layers, it's not like a polychromos, you know, where you can add 6 layers and it'll be just get a richer, deeper color. The Prismas, I find that's when the wax bloom starts. So sometimes less is more. So just get it to where you think it's good and then stop. Let's switch to another 3 color combination and do a different set of leaves. Let's do these leaves along here. And I have the spring green, grass green, and then dark green. So that's 913, 909, and 908. It is nice that there are so many pencils to choose from, that you can get really nice blends. So I'll do one more together, then I'll do the rest on my own, and then we've got a couple of different things on the bottom of the page that we're going to do together as well. There we go. Okay, I'm going to bring you back and we're going to do this. And since we do have the we have 2 colors getting discontinued, I thought I would show you lilac, which is one of the colors being discontinued. We already have used lavender, which is this color, and that's the other one being discontinued. So lilac is this color here. So it's very similar. Well, it's a brighter color than the lavender. And apparently they are having issues obtaining this pigment. So I'm not sure if other pencil brands are going to be discontinuing similar colors as well, or if this is strictly a Prisma supply issue. So I'm just using grass green. If it's one of your favorites, like I said, go grab an open stock one. You can order open stock at dickblick.com. You can also find them at most art stores. Full disclosure, I am bringing in a Sparkle Pop pen to do this area around here on this flower, and also these small areas where a gel pen is just a lot easier than trying to get a fine point. I do find it hard to keep a fine point without snapping it, so sometimes the frustration is just worth getting a gel pen instead. So I will try and do a fine point on that stem, and we'll see if we can get one. Okay, Snapped already before using it, but there we go. Okay, I'll use the same one since we've got it on the vines hanging down. Okay, broke. More sharpening. Sharp, short point. Let's hope. I'm not pressing hard. Okay. I am rotating the pencil in my hand so that it's wearing evenly, and that helps with the wear of the lead. Bring you back for a look at how this is coming. The colors are beautiful. I really do think that Color with Claire's, the way she has organized her color chart, really helps with getting nice cohesive blends and really great color combinations. So I would recommend going over to her YouTube channel and watching her use Prismas for sure. I'm going to do a couple of leaves together, and I'm actually going to go grab a couple other greens that we haven't used. So the next three pencils I'm going to use are chartreuse, lime peel, and just a little bit of moss green for some shading, but I'm going to start with the chartreuse. And that'll be most of the leaf, and then coming in with the lime peel. So my overall thoughts are, do I like the pencils? When they're not breaking and I'm not having issues with constantly sharpening and losing leads in my sharpener, I do like them. I like the colors. I like how they blend. I don't particularly like the Prismacolor blender pencil. I find all it does is ruins the tooth of the paper because you're basically burnishing with wax, so it's hard to kind of recover. Once you've burnished the paper, you're done. So if you're somebody that likes to see how it's looking, I would suggest odorless mineral spirits, or like a Derwent blender pen, which uses mineral spirits. Would I purchase another set for myself personally? No. Will I use these? I think in 2023 I will use them more often. I do think that keeping the pencil lead very short has definitely improved. It's also hard though, because I'm constantly sharpening them because they wear down so quickly that I spend a lot more time sharpening them, which is not something I'm kind of used to. But if it gets me using my pencils, then for sure I'm going to do that. Would I recommend someone else purchasing these pencils? I'm not sure, because there's a lot of pencil brands out there that have just as many pencils but have a far higher quality standard, then I would say go for a cheaper brand and have fun with your pencils, because I don't have fun with my Prismas. And I use coloring as a fun creative hobby, so frustration is not part of that. So I do like the colors, I do like the color names, but because I haven't been happy with this set of pencils of the 132, I have not bothered to go and fill in the rest of the pencils to get the 150, because you know, the quality, you just can't be sure that you're going to get a good set. So that's my overall opinion. I will try and use them more this year because I do have them, but I won't be buying any more. Let me zoom you out. They are beautiful. They did color nicely. I had about 10 breakages in this little area though. I have multiple sharpenings. I have been using the Prisma sharpener with the separate pointed end, and I have used my other sharpener. It didn't seem to matter which sharpener I used, so I stuck with the Prisma for now. So that's my thoughts on the Prisma Premier colored pencils. As always, these are my views and my personal experience with how my set of pencils have been working. So if you're happy with yours, then by all means use them, because that's why you purchased them. Until next time, I'll see you in another video. Have a great creative week. Take care. Bye-bye.